to bring it all back. Well, something did happen today. The release of the tape of a call to 911 made just moments after the first plane hit. Here's that call from Christopher Hanley, who was at a conference in the restaurant at the top of the World Trade Center, Windows on the World.
Yeah, hi. I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We just had an explosion on the 105th floor.
The 106th floor?
Yeah, there's smoke and we had about 100 people up here. Sit tight.
Do not leave, okay? There's a fire or an explosion or something in the building. All right, I want you to stay where you are.
Just keep some windows open. If you can open up windows and just sit tight. It's going to be a while because there's a fire going on downstairs.
Open the windows unless we break.
Okay. Just sit tight. All right, just sit tight. We're on the way.
All right, please hurry.
Haunting words, knowing that Christopher Hanley did not survive that day. But are the tapes like this one a necessary reminder? Joining me now, Air America host Rachel Maddow. Rachel.
Hi, Tucker. Boy, that's hard to hear.
It is hard to hear, and I have mixed feelings. We just played it, so it's not like I'm going to get up and say, you know, people shouldn't play these. But I have to say, I do have mixed feelings about it. I do think there is a kind of pornographic quality to it, and it's almost and also it's also a little too intense. However, before I heard this, I thought, you know, I don't need to be reminded. That day is fresh in my mind. When I heard this, that day came back, and it made me angry again, so angry, and I'm glad I felt that way, because that's the appropriate response.
I think the thing that's interesting about the release of these tapes is the reason that we have that tape that we just heard, as I understand it, is from the Hanley family who wanted it publicly released. Right. What the city decided was that anybody whose family member was identifiable on these tapes, that family would get the choice. They could have the audio recording if they wanted it. They could decide what to do with it. I'm glad they did that. I'm glad this didn't come directly from the city to be launched out there. The families absolutely have control of this. But in terms of us as the American public, hearing this stuff again, for me, it's like having somebody grab me by the collar and shake me and remind me of, like, you know what? 9/11 is a very specific thing that happened on a specific day, and a lot of people died.
That's right.
It's been turned into so many other things, and it's been used to justify so many things, and it's become such a political thing, but it's like being brought back to brass tacks, being brought back to the basics of what really happened that day. And for me, it's like a glass of cold water in the face. I think we need it.
And I think we need it, too, both to remind us that there are these Islamic extremists who seek to do this again, and that we ought to kill as many of them as we can before they attempt it.
Or come up with some way to stop them from doing it.
That's right. I think killing them is a good way to do that. And second, there is this growing 9/11 kind of revisionist movement that you're going to hear, I predict, a lot more about soon. People saying, you know, this is a strong belief in many parts of the extreme left, and maybe on the extreme right, too, but that it was a government plot. Right? Or the government knew about this before it happened. And this is an antidote to that. This reminds people that actually, no, you shouldn't make wild, unsubstantiated claims about a day this horrible.
Well, it's interesting. I just did an interview about this on my show on Air America Radio, because what's amazing is when you look at the actual polling data on what people believe about 9/11, very few people believe the official story.
I know.
I mean, in New York, it's about half of New Yorkers think that what we've been told about what happened on 9/11 isn't what really happened. And conspiracy theories have actually quietly, behind the scenes, really taken hold of our imagination on that day. And it's scary. And these tapes, I don't think, illuminate anything about what really happened.
No, of course.
For people who disagree with the official story,
of course not.
This isn't going to disprove it.
I agree with you, and that's not the point I was making. I was merely saying this reminds people of the gravity of that day.
Yes,
and that day, it will be used, and I'm not just pounding on the left because I'm a right-winger. It's true. A lot of those conspiracy theories are coming from the left, and I think it reminds those people that, you know, you shouldn't throw this stuff around. There's no evidence the U.S. government was behind this or knew about it, and that's an outrageous thing to say.
But for me, I mean, I don't think the conspiracy theories are only on the left. I think there are conspiracy theories on this from every quarter. There's so many of them, and it is actually
I've only seen them on the left, but I believe you.
But I mean, for me, the thing that this makes me mad about is that I feel like it reminds us about 9/11 as a specific day. 9/11 has been used for so many political purposes. It has been so exploited for so much other BS that has nothing to do with 9/11. And when you look at how we actually responded to the deaths of all those Americans that day, Osama bin Laden has not been caught. Al-Qaeda is doing fine. America roundly hated around the world. You can get explosives onto planes and dirty bombs across borders. We found that out from the GIO just this month. Police and firefighters still can't talk to each other on their radios. We have screwed up in the response to 9/11 in a huge way.
I don't know. I tend to sort of agree with you, except A, we haven't been attacked again. B, we overthrew the Taliban, which was, you know, the physical locus of all of this. That was job number one, and it was the job we did first. And so good for us.
Well, yeah, job number one was actually getting Osama bin Laden. And we haven't done that. We're nowhere near that. And the more people in the world who would shelter him today than there were on September 12th.
He's sitting in the back of some cave with his, you know, Soviet-era dialysis machine, suffering. And so, I don't know, that's comfort, maybe cold comfort.
When I hear those tapes, I really care about him being caught.
No,
and
I agree.
I'm furious that he hasn't been.
Maybe we could torture him too. That'd be good. Rachel Maddow, I know you agree with me. Still to come, are Republicans facing electoral Armageddon? One man says yes, but he has a solution, he says, to turn things around. You'll meet him when we come back.